One of the main things that holds us back in life and in work is thinking about what other people are thinking about us. This one is about worrying what other people think. And this comes up every day, sometimes multiple times a day when I'm coaching my clients. We worry about what our boss or our colleagues think about us, our family members, our friends, our neighbors, people on the school run, people on a night out, people on the internet, people we've never met. And it's always pretty unhelpful, because it just takes up space in our brains, in our heads that we could be putting to better use. And it generally feels pretty bad as well. But most importantly, often it stops us from making decisions, taking action, moving forward, reaching our potential, and just doing what it is that we want to be doing. We can stop us from going for a promotion or a new job, changing career, starting a business, promoting that business, or taking time off from work, going where we want to go on holiday, or saying no to something that we really don't want to be doing, or just finding out information, asking questions that you want the answer to. All kind of ways in which we can hold ourselves back because we're worried about what people are thinking or they might think. So have a think for yourself now at the moment. Where are you using up space in your brain thinking about what other people are thinking? And where is anywhere that you're holding yourself back from doing something because of what other people might think? And then when we're sort of tuned into this, the first thing that we really need to know is this is completely normal and it happens pretty much to everybody. And the reason for that is, like, first of all, on an evolutionary level, this is just how we've evolved for our brain to think about and be concerned about what other people think. So we're pack mammals. So our ancestors lived in groups, and acceptance by that group was really important for protection and safety. So making sure that you were protected from predators, you had adequate shelter, adequate food, and you weren't cast out by the group to survive or to perish in the wild. And then on top of that, just if you think about the way that we're socialized, the way that we've been raised, even like just from being little kids, all of us will have received messages, both direct messages and indirect messages, about the importance of fitting in, of being liked, being popular. Sometimes at home from our parents, often at school and from our experience there. And generally as well, just from everything that we see on TV and in the media. So it's no wonder that our brains are thinking and focused on what are other people thinking about us. And because of that association between safety and acceptance that's there for the more primitive part of our brain, what that means is that this way of thinking isn't going away anytime soon. We can't just shut off that part of the brain that thinks in that way. But also it's important to know that we don't need to shut off that part of the brain in order to make progress in this area and stop being held back by worrying about what other people think. So when I'm working with my clients on their thinking, the aim is not to silence the thinking that's more unhelpful. So in this case, like the thoughts that are about like, what are other people thinking about me? The aim isn't to silence that, to stop it. I was coaching somebody recently, and she had a lot of noise going on in the background, dog barking and stuff like that. She was apologizing to me for the noise, and I was telling her, like, "Oh, I can't hear any of it at all," like because we're on Zoom and the background noise cancellation is really good, so it blocks it out for the other person. So I couldn't hear the drilling or the dogs at all. And I was telling her, because we were coaching her on some of her unhelpful thinking, that this is not what we're aiming for. We're not aiming for that to be silenced, for that noise to be completely cancelled out. What we're aiming for is actually what it's like or it was like on her side of the Zoom call, where the noise was going on in the background, but she wasn't focusing there. She was focusing on me. and directing her brain and directing the conversation into what we were talking about. So she was sort of tuning that out, letting that be in the background, and then turning her attention where she wanted it to go. This is what we're aiming for when we do any kind of mindset work. And this is what I want you to aim for here when you're thinking about these thoughts that you're thinking about other people's thoughts, is like we just want to tune out from them a bit and focus our attention where we want to focus it. And when we do that, those thoughts take up less space and we're able to move forward in spite of them. Okay, so I'm going to offer you a few questions that I want you to work through to help you to do that, to help you to kind of tune out and to focus. And so the first question I want to ask you is, who exactly are these people that you're worried about what they're thinking? Because often we can be a little bit vague with this, like we're worried what people might think. But if we ask ourselves and we get specific, often it's a few specific people, maybe like one or two, maybe three people that we're particularly thinking about. For me, it's always a particular member of my family and somebody that I used to work with. And obviously, it varies depending on the context. But for you, like with these thoughts that are there at the moment, who exactly is it that you're thinking about? Identify them. And then from there, once you've done that, it's just helpful because we get to ask ourselves, do we really want to be making decisions and living our life for those people, for that person? Do you really want to be focused more on what they think and that they want for your life than on what you think and you want for your life? Even when like these might be people that you really love and you really respect, but still that's different from wanting to decide and live your life for them. And also you might find that these people that you're focusing your attention on aren't the people that you love and respect the most. So that's interesting and can be helpful to see as well. Okay, so that's the first question. Who exactly are you thinking about? And then I want you to ask yourself, what exactly are you worried that they might be thinking or that they might think if you do what it is you want to do? And I really encourage you to write this down. What are the thoughts you think they might think? Get that down on paper, and you can pause the video to do that now if you're in a place to do that, or do it later, but get the thoughts down on paper. And then once you've done that, I want you to look at them, to see that, and to recognize that all those thoughts are actually your thoughts. They came from your brain because it's the only brain that you have access to. We don't actually have access to anybody else's brain. We can't actually go in there and take out their thoughts and write them down on a piece of paper. All we can write down is what we're thinking. And so on some level, these thoughts that you're identifying, that you're worried about, people might think, they're your thoughts, which is really good news because although we can't control what other people think, even though we spend quite a lot of time trying to do that, what we can do is exert control over our own thoughts. So if these are thoughts that you don't want to be thinking, let's direct your brain and decide like what you would like to be thinking, what you would like to take up space in your brain. So the next question that I want you to ask yourself is, how would I like to be seen by someone else? And if that's tricky, another way into this is think about someone that you admire and write down your thoughts about them. What do you think about them? Because likely those are going to be thoughts that you would like people to have about you. So again, I really encourage you to get this down on paper and then again, have a look at that and see. And then I want you to ask yourself and go to work on seeing how are these things true about you? What's the evidence that this is actually a true reflection of you and that this is a way that you could be thinking about yourself? This is directing your brain. This is putting intentional thoughts in there on purpose, taking up space with something that you want to be there so that the other thoughts, the worries, can be more in the background. Okay, so this has been on my list to do for a while. So I hope you've enjoyed this and please get in touch with any thoughts or questions that you have about it. See you soon.